Hello my kings, queens, and fellow minor leaders, and welcome back to pt.1. Today we're going to start with a series I'm so incredibly excited for, and it's called The Fox's Bride. And as you may be able to guess by the title and the thumbnail, it's about Kitsunes. And it includes some Omegaverse elements, but overall just Kitsunes. I love the idea for like the Mia twins and Inazaki, so yeah, I hope you will like it. It features the ship OsaSunaKomo and a couple of side ships. Now, let's go. Komori was 7 when he saw the gleaming light of a foxfire for the first time. He had been out at the back door of the estate, facing the garden after a particularly bad scolding from his father. His cheeks still hurt and began to swell as a little flicker danced over his face where he had rubbed over the spot with the back of his hand. His eyes lit up as they followed the direction of the light to the end of the garden. It was tiny. His pain was forgotten about, and with a small leap he jumped down from the porch, his socks getting soaked in the wet grass. He ran as quickly as his short legs and the fine yukata restricting his movements slightly would allow, and followed after the glimpses of light. He was so entranced by it that he barely took notice of the border separating the edge of their garden from the forest. By day, he had wandered these grounds many times, often in the company of either his cousin or mother, but by night, the world seemed to shift into another. However, he looked at it merely with wonder as he slipped under big leaves and crawled through the bushes, chasing the light. The usually plentiful fireflies didn't illuminate tonight's path, seeing as it had rained heavily just a few hours prior, and the air was still filled with a persistent drizzle, and it looked like the rain would return soon. But Komori didn't have the foresight to consider that, as he suddenly found himself at a small shrine. It was tiny, really, no comparison to the shrine he visited with his family on the weekends or during festivals to ask the gods for a good harvest, or blessings and marriage and luck. He was too young to really understand what was going on at these outings, but he knew it was important, and that offerings made the gods happy, and he liked making people happy. So when he saw the small shrine now, without being able to read the inscriptions on it or recognize the symbols engraved on it, he reached into the sleeve of his yukata and pulled out a rice ball before placing it on the altar. What he didn't expect was a tiny snout to appear from the inside, sniffed the rice, and starting to eat it. For a moment he watched perplexed, unsure whether he should stop the creature or not, since his offering had been for the god or gods the shrine was devoted to, but then he remembered a story from one of the elders from the village. Sometimes nature spirits took all kinds of forms, and he smiled brightly. He couldn't believe he was actually seeing a spirit. Not wanting to startle it, he carefully leaned down to get a better look, and was faced with a fox. An adorable, younger, golden fox. The fox eyed him suspiciously, cocking his head to the side a bit as he came closer to inspect Komori more closely. The young boy giggled as the animal's breath fanned over his cheek, though immediately a whine followed the sound, and he touched the spot his father had hit. It wasn't a rare occurrence, though Komori certainly didn't get in trouble often. It was the norm to discipline kids as the parents saw fit, and minor displays of violence were very much part of that. Komori's punishments often followed when he defended his cousin, who was seen as weird by many of those around him. Kyu sometimes seemed to get punished for simply existing, and Komori couldn't bear that, so he didn't. As the fox came closer, he reached into his sleeve again and pulled another rice ball from the pocket before handing it to the creature. He didn't even have to wait to put it down. The fox took it straight from his hand, making him freeze and watch him in wonder. As he observed him now, he recognized the source of the light he saw before. The foxtails appeared to be on fire. It danced like the gleaming light of burning lamps in the dark or at festivals. He watched it in awe. Apparently happy with the attention, the fox swayed his tails from one side to the other, making the flames dance more wildly. Komori's smile widened, and he didn't even think it weird that the fox had 3 tails instead of the usual 1. He clapped his hands and watched him astonished when suddenly one of the fox's legs gave out and he stumbled. Komori halted and watched more closely. The leg seemed hurt. The fur around it was darker than the rest. He reached for it and the fox jumped back weakly, suddenly cautious. A snarl passed between his fangs as Komori didn't stop, but his defense was weak as the boy lifted him into his arms, ignoring his attempts to bite his arm. He inspected the leg more closely, now recognizing the blood dripping from it. Quickly he took part of his yukata, which had been torn by twigs and thorns he passed on the way here before, and ripped it off completely. With the big clumsy movements, he fastened it around his leg, trying to imitate how the servants treated his wounds when he got any. The fox let out a whine, forcing him to let go of the boy's arm, and Komori swiftly set it back down when he was done. It didn't move at first, and since he knew it wouldn't understand him, Komori opted for simply humming a calming melody and shielding it with a big leaf as the rain got worse. When it finally sat up, it still limped and inspected the makeshift bandage Komori had applied. Then, as though understanding its purpose, he looked at Komori and gave an apologetic lick to his hand before resting his head against the boy's thigh. Komori smiled happily, uncaring that he got drenched in the rain. The foxfire kept him warm. He must have fallen asleep because when his eyes opened, the sun was blinding him from above and the fox was gone. The little shrine remained, and only now, in the light of day, did Komori notice the little fox carved into its side. He traced it with his finger, smiled, and left another rice bowl as an offering, though this time no snout appeared to take it. He didn't wait for it before embarking on his journey home. Kyo, wait for me! Komori laughed as he followed his cousin through the crowd. The taller was always quick to escape places with too many people present. It made him nervous. Komori, on the other hand, reveled in the company of others, and easily let himself be distracted, causing him to lose his cousin in the crowd time and time again. The fact that he was only allowed to wear delicately decorated kimono since he had presented as an omega didn't help. They restricted his movements, and he always needed to be cautious not to get them dirty or his parents would be mad. Keep up then, would you? Komori laughed and quickly slung his arm around his cousins, not to lose him again. Ever since 2 years ago, he lived with them and had become Komori's official chaperone when on outings. His parents didn't need to know what an awful job he did on occasion. Komori was glad. Sakusa had given him back a bit of freedom he deemed lost over the past years. And he didn't police him constantly about how his over-animated excitement was unseemly, and his tendency to run off or wanted to be physically active would never find him a good alpha. A group of alphas, clearly of higher status, though he wasn't sure they were on par with the Sakusa family, passed them, sniffing the air as they got too close, their eyes boring into him. A growl echoed to his right, and Sakusa pulled him closer. What idiots. Komori nodded slowly. Idiots or not, any one of them could be my future husband. my parents are nagging me non-stop that I need to find a good alpha. I think at this point, they'd just about accept any offer from my hand in marriage. Sakusa looked horrified at that. Komori laughed. He nudged him in the side and played it off, though he had the slight inkling his scent betrayed him. Don't be so serious, Kyo. I'm sure my future mate will be nothing short of kind. The dark kid looked away, his expression unreadable, but Komori knew he wasn't happy with how things were. Who could blame him? He wasn't either, but it wasn't like he could change it. Suddenly, it was as if he caught something from the corner of his eye and he turned around abruptly. But there was nothing, only the crowd of people that had surrounded them before already. Yet, within, he caught a scent that, while unfamiliar, reminded him of something. It was earthy and smelled like moss right before it started to rain. Motoya? His eyes was just searching for the source, and for the glimpse of a second, he caught the gaze of lively brown eyes that seemed to be speckled with bronze and silver. Then it was gone again. We should get home. If we stay out for too long, your parents won't let me be your guard again. Komori nodded absent-mindedly and let his cousin guide him away, still searching the crowd for the scent of moss and rain, until they were on the path lined by a forest that led to his parents' estate. He sighed and turned his gaze to look up ahead again. At the Genkan, they quickly changed their shoes before going in. Komori kneeled before the door to his father's study, bowed and announced his return. I'm home, father. His father's voice echoed from the inside before the Omega could turn around to leave. Come inside, Motoya. We have something important to discuss. Bring Kiyomi if you like. Confused, he exchanged a glance before he slowly pushed the door open and they took their places, kneeling on the ground before his father, who sat on a slightly elevated step in front of them. Your timing is near perfect. We have received a marriage offer for you, Motoya. What? He felt his heart sink, and Kiyomi next to him tensed. Yes, and we accepted it. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I really hope you enjoyed this. I am really excited for this series. If you did like it, don't forget to like and subscribe so that I can see that you like it and make more of it, because I have like 6 parts planned for this one. Yeah, tell me your favorite moment and or comment under the pinned comment. It really helps me make better videos for you, and yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this, because I really want to make this series. And special thanks as always goes out to my nerdy Nekos. They are the absolute best and they support this channel so much, so huge thank you to all of you, and I really hope you enjoy your early access. Again, videos really early. Here are my social media, check them out if you like. Check also out the Discord where I keep you updated on all the projects I'm currently working on, and here are projects I've already completed. So check them out as well if you like, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye! Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.